2 questions. Day 2 what? Oh my goodness. Week 5, day 2. And just so happens that it's God's attribute of being merciful. And if you watched the last YouTube video, it was God's attribute of being wrathful. So, you know, fitting enough, his next attribute is merciful. And it's good. God's mercy is him not giving us what we do deserve. So as we were born into sin and we are sinners, I mean, even if you've not done an outwardly sinful thing in your entire life, which is incredibly doubtful, but it could happen, your brain and your heart have probably done bad things. I know mine has. I've said them out loud. I have not been kind. I've not been compassionate. I've done bad things. I've, lusted, and, the list goes on, to be quite honest. But God's mercy is him not giving us what we do deserve. So through Jesus, or even not through Jesus, but obviously Jesus is God's ultimate mercy, but we are still this in here, it touches on it a little bit. It says theologians have pointed to the distinction between God's general mercy and his special mercy. So his general mercy is that all of us are given our daily breath, right? Like our breath, and we are awakened. And I, in thinking about this, I said, also his general mercy is God's patience, right? It's his patience. So even if you're not saved, and his mercy is you breathing every day, it's his breathing, or his allowing us to breathe, is his patience and waiting for us to acknowledge him and acknowledge what Jesus did for us. So, and then it obviously goes on to say that Jesus dying for us is the ultimate mercy, because that's true. I had to write, it didn't, today's Bible verse was Philippians 3:7-10, but in here it had mentioned Romans 9:15. I will have mercy on whom I will have mercy, and I will have compassion on whom I will have compassion. And that means that we're chosen, right? And that is such an amazing thing. That makes me feel so grateful. But I want to get to the questions, because I had thought of this after, but how have you seen God's mercy on your own life? And I said, my salvation, choosing me to break our generational curse that plagues my family, and giving me Alex. I can't explain enough how I wanted a baby. I wanted a family. Even when I was young, I wanted a family. I wanted many kids. And then I had health complications, and then I was married, and I was taking hormonal treatments, and time again, I just kept having some health complications, and was told even since I was 18, the probability of me having kids was so low. And then when while I was married, I had to have surgery, and that it was there's no way you're gonna have a baby. And then in testing my hormones to even see about all of that, I had too much testosterone in my body. And then And essentially, and then I got divorced, right? And then I ended up divorced. So I thought I'll never have a baby. And I think I had finally come to terms with that. You know, I was 36, 37 years old. But through my stupidity, God gave me Alex. So, but it is all his divine plan. It is all his plan, because I don't know if I would have ever decided to follow him without Alex. I was on such a path of destruction and self-loathing and disappointment, which I'm still struggling to get out of, right? And this just shows it. And it says, how is God's mercy a comfort to you? I said, I still struggle with mercy because I associate it with pity. Like I said in the last video, it's a product of how I was raised. Old habits die hard. And then I was thinking about that and why, like, where in the Bible I could have felt like I was justified in that feeling. And then where I was not justified in that feeling. But I ended up writing down, there was a woman who said even dogs get scraps. And then I had to look that up, and it's in Matthew 15. And I wrote, I lived by feeling less than and hoping God takes pity on me. But because of the hope of this woman, her daughter was saved. We don't just need to hope for God's scraps and leftovers. It was in his plan all along to save us. And in that story, she's a Gentile and she sees Jesus, and her daughter is dead or dying. And she's asking God to save her. And he says something, I could read it, but to the effect, like, she's basically a dog, which is a derogatory word back then, and associated with Gentiles and not Jews, meaning that she doesn't actually get the blessing because she's a Gentile. But he doesn't really mean that. He's just testing her. And she rebuts him a few times and finally says, but even the dogs get the crumbs, like, that the children don't get, so, or don't want. So she's saying, like, the Jews don't want this, but I do. And because of her faith, her daughter is then saved. And even if she was given leftover mercy from God, she eventually, like, she made it in the Bible. Her faith saved her. And so we should take great comfort in that, even if we feel like we're getting, like, the pity, we're not, first of all. I mean, that's just such a selfish thing to say, and that I need to work through. But God planned to save us, to save me, to save you, to save Abby, to save Leanna, to save all of us. God chose us. We're not leftovers. He's not taking pity on us. He loves us. And there's so much comfort in that. And I just love that. Like, mercy is not the same as pity. And if you felt like that, like I felt like that, I just hope that this very long-winded and strange video speaks that into you. But I'm so grateful that whoever watches these actually does watch this. Oh my goodness. But anyway, thank you so much for watching this, and we'll see you next week, next day, whenever I can get through this, because it's gracious, and that one's gonna be good. And I'll talk to you later.